Hey there. So in this lesson, we're going to work on something and not play to a backing track this time. So we're going to do a classic Freddie King instrumental tune called Heads Up. And I'm going to show you the riff for this. And then, there's three parts to the head. And what we call the head would be, the melodic part where a song starts off, where you play an identifiable melody and it goes around a progression or whatever typically, and then the song goes and you can improvise, singer sings, do some solos, and then you'll see a guy come back out and they might tap themselves on the head or say, back to the top or back to the head, and that means kind of, the song starts off with this identifiable guitar part or keyboard part or harmonica or whatever it may be. In this case, it's going to be guitar. And then you kind of do the same thing essentially, to make the song a song. Here's the intro and here's the verses and the bridge, and then you kind of do an outro and you move your way out. So this one's going to be in the key of G. And here's the riffs. So it's going to be so again, it's just so that's part of the riff. And then the second part is it could be either or, and you're going to hear me do one or the other and slight variations of this. But ultimately, this is kind of it more in context. And then what we do is we take the same thing down to the 4. Just for that, and then it's... And then the song's going to go to the 5. So for now, we're going to work up to the 5. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And then it's going to go to the 5. So on the 5, we're going to go. So this is. Right? So that would be over the 5. So. And that's the end, basically, of that. And if you go listen to this song, you're going to hear a few different versions by Freddie King out there. You're going to hear versions of other people that have played it. And this is likely not note for note, but it's identifiable enough. I'm playing what the song is. This is one of those heads that you got to know the melodic structure to it to make it sound like the song. So let's do it off the top, and let's try and go around 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So that's basically the way around. I kind of messed up the 5 there on that count because I don't normally count that out loud. I just kind of tap my foot along to it to get in there. So that's the 12-bar progression on this one. And typically you would go around twice, do that head twice, and then the song would go into a pattern where the guitar and the bass and even the drums kind of work together. So they do a little riff like this. Right? So that's that. And that's pretty standard. That's there's a lot of blues tunes that have those exact same notes. It's just phrasing and timing that a little bit different than a lot of the other songs, but ultimately the notes are all the same. So again. Okay, so if you want to take that to the next level, what we can do is when you're doing the, you can get the almost like little chords. And then again, when you get to the 4, it would be. And that's a way to fill it out. Sometimes when if I play this song with other guitar players and they'll do. Like I'll play that, and it, you know, that might sound a little weird if you're just going. You know, that's just kind of playing that note outside of the chord, and it's fun little things to do depending on if you're playing by yourself or you're playing with somebody else. You know, those are little ways to fill it out, but typically you would. And then there's a third part to this. So it would do the head we learned with all the notes going up and down the neck, do that twice, and then do this progression once, and then the third one would be. So it's just. And it's the same notes again. Just playing the notes a little bit differently. And again, you can go. You know, you could do that if you like the sound of that. So I'm going to take it back to the top, and I'm not going to play the first part twice. I'm just going to play it once, and then I'll go into these riffs. So what you'll be able to do is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you get back into, say, soloing. So if you're doing an instrumental tune with a band, you could call that out, and the drummer and bass player could, you know, play a groove along with it, and you could play that head, and then you could take a solo and pass solos to the other guys in the band, and then when they're done, come back into the, you know, and that brings you back into that head where you go to that outro and you end the song, and there you have a song that's an instrumental, and it's fairly simple but very, very effective to do, and it's one of Freddie King's, you know, awesome originals. He's got a whole slew of them, and we'll learn some more throughout this course, but I highly recommend going and checking out a lot of the Freddie King stuff from, you know, his early blues instrumentals. I think there's an album called Bonanza of Instrumentals or something like that that has a whole bunch of cool stuff, and whoever your influences are and guys you like to listen to, you're likely going to listen to some Freddie if you're not already familiar with him and go, hey, that sounds like so-and-so and so-and-so. So that's a song to work on. If that moved a little fast for you, you can slow the video down and go over it. Again, I would love to see your progress. So if you want to record yourself or film yourself and send it to me, I'd be happy to take a listen to it and see how your progress is going. And on that note, work on that, get good at it, because we got some more cool stuff in the next lessons.